stopped?
Increased.
I have only begun to understand what he's been going through because even before today, even before we filed the lawsuit, we started getting hate mail. And it's extremely difficult to read those. So I can't even imagine what he's been through with the things that have been said about him.
So the hate mail has been directed to you?
Yes. Telling us that we're un-American, we need to leave this country. Hoping
the firm goes bankrupt. that we know nothing about civil rights. Most comments on Facebook pages.
So, what did you talk about this with the president?
Well, with the president, it was more of a happy vibe. So I spoke with him about how much of an honor it was to meet him, and that we talked about Mars and astronomy because it was astronomy night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chris, can you count to 5?
1, 2, 3. Is that rhetorical?
Was that
I'm a lawyer, so I'm not good with numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're lawyers. We don't do numbers at all.
He's got his microphone's having issues.
Oh.
No, I hear you. Sounds like he's way off. Oh, that sounds even better now.
Are you going, is it a private school that you're attending?
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
We filed a lawsuit earlier this morning about 6
Around 1,500. But it's a very large school.
Multiple defendants.
And it's all on, it's a school district, and it's all in the same area. So if you want to go to the primary school, which is for children, it's you walk outside the corridor, and you go to the other building, and you're at the primary school.
So are some of your siblings on the campus?
Well, my siblings are in the district, but they're not in the same campus as me.
Do your new friends in Qatar know who you are over here or what's been going on over here?
Well, I think most of them do because when I went to the school, all of them asked me, "Are you that clock kid?"
What did you tell them?
And I told them, yeah, I was. But it was more of a normal environment because most of the kids at that school were royal family members, very wealthy families, and it's basically like the top of the country. So it's the best school in Qatar.
What's it called?
Qatar Academy.
So what grade will you be in?
Grade 10.
Coming up.
Yeah. So who's Reverend Johnson?
Well, I don't know. We were going to wait for Reverend Johnson so he could be with us, but I guess he got a flat tire, so. Yeah. Okay.
كان مع مارتن لوثر كينج واتضرب وهو
Okay.
الطب عليه.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead without Reverend Johnson. So we filed a lawsuit at 6 a.m. this morning on behalf of Ahmed Mohamed against the City of Irving and the Irving Independent School District and its principal, Daniel Cummings. The lawsuit is based upon the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution as well as Title VI. And so I actually wanted to quote President Lyndon Johnson as he spoke to Congress, urging them to pass Title VI, when he said that this is one of those moments where history and fate meet in a single time and a single place. to shape a turning point in man's unending search for freedom. So for Ahmed Mohamed, will we be faithful to our American principles of justice and equality, or will we revert to hate and fear, the two biggest evils that could defeat our democracy? And I want to quote Abraham Lincoln, who says, "America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves." So the basis for the lawsuit are the violation of the civil rights of Ahmed Mohamed, an American citizen.
How so? Maybe you could explain that a little more, the violation of civil rights. What exactly
Sure.
happened that you believe justifies all of this?
Well, you have a boy who took a pencil box. As you can see, it's not a briefcase or a suitcase. It's a pencil box. My hand fits over it. To school because he had told his English teacher that he was going to make something to show her, which he did all throughout middle school. You can talk to any of his teachers, including Mr. Kubiak, who I've talked to, who said he used to show up with gadgets and gizmos all the time. So he took it to show her, and he did, and she asked him what it was, and he told her an alarm clock. She took it from him, and he left the classroom. Hours later, after lunch and after he was in his college prep class, the principal and an Irving policeman came and got him out of class. Now, keep in mind, there was no alarm. They didn't, evacuate the school. They didn't call in a bomb squad. They knew it wasn't a bomb. They did none of those things. Hours later, they came and got him from class. They took him into a conference room and started interrogating him. He asked for his parents, which he was entitled to do, and they refused to allow him to have his parents there. And they continued to interrogate him. And the principal told him he had to sign a statement or he would be expelled. He told them over and over again, "It's an alarm clock. I made it for my teacher." I don't know what else it was they were looking for, but that's what he told them, and it was all true. And despite that fact, and despite the fact they knew it wasn't a bomb, that he never threatened anyone, that he never said it was a bomb, that he never alarmed anyone, despite all of those things, they yanked him out of his chair, put him in handcuffs, and arrested him. There was no cause for arrest. And even after the police, who acknowledged that it didn't look like a bomb, that it wasn't a bomb, and that he shouldn't have been arrested, even after they dropped the charges, the school still expelled him. I mean, not expelled him, suspended him. So yes, those are violations of his civil rights. And if you read the lawsuit, Irving School District has a long history of discrimination, particularly with respect to the discipline of its students. If you are black or African American in the Irving School District, you are twice as likely to be disciplined, suspended, than if you're white. And that's been going on for years. And they know about it. They even hired Dr. Mac Hines to do a study to see what's the problem? Why are we disciplining the black African American students at twice the rate? And he did a study called The Skin They're In, which said, yes, you have rampant discrimination in the Irving School District. Here's the things you need to do to fix it. But they were so upset by his findings that they decided to table it and not implement his suggestions. And as you know, because the media's been reporting on it, there has long been paranoia in the Irving School District about the Muslims. They hired someone to scour their curriculum to make sure that there weren't too many references to Islam. And the person they hired actually found that there was a bias against Islam and pro-Christianity. So all of those things combined culminated in this young man being arrested and suspended from school for no legitimate reason.
What happened after he was handcuffed?
What do you mean what happened? He was arrested. They handcuffed him at the school and then took him out, 2 officers on each side, and put him in the police car and took him down to the police station, fingerprinted him, booked him, processed him through the arrest, and then eventually at some point notified his family.
What can be done at this point? What kind of remedy are you seeking here?
Justice. And you know the only remedy, the only justice we have in our American legal system is money. So we are suing for justice.
What's the status of the Department of Justice investigation?
That investigation is ongoing. Department of Justice has an investigation into the Irving Independent School District as a whole and the race discrimination that's going on.
On the basis of discipline?
I don't know that it's limited to just discipline, but I think that's part of it.
What's the amount, sir?
We have not stated an amount. That will be up to the jury to decide.
The families suffered substantial damage by virtue of all of this, is that right?
Yes, they have. They have. They've had to give up their home
And move.
and move. And you know, Ahmed can talk to you about how homesick he is, and you know his wish to come back and his wish to, you know, his hope to move back home.
Well, and it's a young man whose identity was stripped away from him and replaced by something that everyone as a whole came up with. I mean, when you sit down and talk with him about this, it's been portrayed as he got to meet the president and this, that, and the other, but he lost what defined him, and that's just his individual self, and it's been replaced.
The letters that were sent to the district earlier this spring seeking $15 million in damages, what came of that? And that is separate from this lawsuit, correct?
Well, not necessarily. It was a precursor to the lawsuit, and nothing came of it. They hired an attorney who wrote back and said, you know, we don't recognize the legitimacy of your claims.
But you're not putting a dollar on what could come out of this jury, what you're hoping out of this jury trial right now.
No, I think that's up to the jury. And, you know, something that Chris said is, you know, we hear over and over again how great this has been for Ahmed because he got to meet the president and, you know, got to meet some famous people. You know, those things lasted 5 minutes. Those things lasted this long. But the other things that he has had to endure, moving his whole family, losing their home here, the constant barrage of horrible, hateful, mean, terrible things that people are saying to this little boy, he has to endure that all day, every day, all the time.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about that? You know, what's reality like for you right now?
Well, the reality of it is that, as she said, it was nice to meet the president and meet all these great people, but then again, during that time I was traveling, I didn't have a home because I left my home here, but I had to travel for my safety of my family. And the reality of it is I've lost a lot of things, and that people might not see it because I never really talk about it. But right now, as she said, I lost a lot of things. I lost my home. I lost my creativity because before I used to love building things, but now I can't. There's nothing I can do. And it's just, I've lost a lot of things. I lost my security. I can't walk out on the streets anymore without having to be covered up because I don't want to get shot because it happens here. And it might happen anywhere, and anytime I walk out the house, there might be death waiting for me. So the best thing for me is that I had to stay overseas, far away. And I really love this state. It's my home. But I couldn't stay.
How does all that make you feel? You're just a teenager.
What do you mean, as in?
Well, you know, how are you emotionally handling this?
I get a lot of hate. And I got a lot of support in the beginning, but then again, it's the hate that sticks because some of it is so damaging. I get death threats. What did I ever do to someone to get death threats? It's a really sad reality of it, people threatening. And it's not just me, it's like other kids out there. There's kids that get suspended and arrested, but you can't do anything about it. Some of the kids don't get the same support I did. And another thing is that if I didn't get the support, the police would have still put the charges on me. And they would have still put me in jail, and it would have been on my record. And there's some kids who unluckily don't get the same opportunities as me.
What did it feel like when you were handcuffed at school in front of school officials and I don't know, other classmates saw you get pulled out of the classroom? What was going on?
Well, to them, they didn't know. To my classmates, they didn't know what really was happening when the police pulled me out of class, because I didn't think I was going to get arrested. I didn't think I did anything wrong. But when I saw the school officials, because I never done anything bad with them, it's like you never have contact with someone, and then the first time they give you something, it's not really good. It's a bad experience.
You talk about missing the States and your friends. Do you miss the school? Would you want life to go back as it was, to be back in that school district?
Throughout middle school, I never let anything get to me. Some of it got to me, but it's just, I never let it out. I'm silent at home. I never tell anyone about it. And in high school, so I forgot your question.
I know you want to return to the States. You say that this is your home. How do you feel about, if you could go back to the school district, would you want to?
I want to go back to my friends, yeah. I'm not sure about the school district after the experience I've gotten.
Are you still in touch with some of those friends? What are they saying? How do they feel about what happened?
They feel what happened to me was very wrong, and they supported me, but they couldn't do much about it because they were just students.
You said you used to love building things, but you can't. Why is that?
For some reason, every time I lost my house, and that's where all my things was, that's where I had everything. And I never really had them. Before, I never really went out to buy things because I never knew the part names. I would just build things. So when all my stuff got taken away, it was put somewhere in storage or anywhere. Most of it is gone. It's gone to trash. And most of the things that I built, I can't build again because I don't know what parts I need to use. And if I want to build something new, I don't know which works with which. So
back when all this happened, you said you were trying to make something good of this, trying to be a spokesman for
the children and the people who get the same treatment I got, but without the publicity and without the support. Some people get arrested. Some kids my age get arrested, and you never hear about it anywhere, and they're in jail and they never did anything wrong. And I want to be the voice for them because it's very wrong what happens to them.
So what do you think this lawsuit might achieve on that path? Do you think it might continue to give voice to this issue? What do you think?
It will give voice to this issue, but the problem is the only way you can get justice is through money, because if you tell them to apologize, they can write a simple apology, but they'll still repeat it. So the only way that you can help someone is by suing someone who harmed them.
Is the goal also then for there to be some sort of change in policy at Irving? I think you guys mentioned rampant discrimination. Is the hope then that moving forward this wouldn't happen again?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And this is the only real enforcement mechanism we have, is a lawsuit to bring change in that regard. I mean, there is the Department of Justice investigation that's ongoing, but with respect to what we can do, this is it.
It's been almost a year now since this happened, and you've asked them to apologize before, is that right?
Yes. Yes, the family did ask them to apologize.
Nothing happened.
No.
And the thing is, you shouldn't have to ask to be apologized. They should apologize automatically because they did something wrong.
How does it feel to be Muslim in Qatar compared to here in Texas?
Well, over there, it really doesn't matter what religion you are, you're still treated the same. And the difference is that over there, it's more of, I don't have to worry what I buy in the store because I know it doesn't have pork. And over there, you can make friends a lot faster because religion, since the majority is mostly Muslim, and Islam, you have to be friendly to people. And since over there, most of the people are Muslim, they're mostly friendly. And here they are too, but over there, they're more welcoming. And some people leave the gates to their house open so you can come in, have dinner, and leave. I've done it before.
If you could turn back time and go back to before all of this happened, would you choose to do that? Would you like to have it back the way it was in the first place? Before the clock ever went to school, before you ever took it there that day?
I would go back in time. If I can go back in time, I'll go way back in time and bring Martin Luther King back.
Yes, sir. Sure.
First, let me apologize to you.
Here.
First, let me apologize.
Just put that on your shirt.
First, let me apologize to everybody for being late. I had a flat tire coming over here. But to welcome this wonderful family to my office building where I've been for many years. This is the most diverse office building in this part of the country. And I want to say welcome to you all and thank you all for coming. And to my friends in the media, to thank you all. The 3 steps to social change that we learned in the civil rights movement from Martin Luther King was first litigation, demonstration, then reconciliation. Reconciliation comes after litigation and demonstration that forces apologies that mean something. And sometimes those apologies has to come in dollars amount so those who have harmed us will know not to do that again. It is a tragedy that this young kid has to face the sting of racism and hatred and discrimination at such a young age. This scar on his life will be with him for the rest of his life. This is not going to go away in terms of being told that you are something less than an American because of your religion and the pigmentation in your skin. So I support the litigation. I also support this next step, which is demonstration, but the ultimate step, which is reconciliation. I would hope that somehow what happens in litigation can begin to change the hearts of people like the mayor in Irving and the people in Irving. When I say to people about suburban communities that have grown up all around this city, is that when I first came to Texas, cows lived in Irving. What changed that was desegregated housing and desegregated schools. Those communities exist because white people in Texas did not want to live next to us. They did not want their children to go to school with us. So they built all these suburban communities running away from open housing and desegregated housing. This is the reality. Our nation have got to fix the past in order to deal with the present, to plan for the future. And we have not done that yet. Thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Reverend.
This lawsuit talks a lot about history at the Irving Independent School District, about recent history, about discipline, disparate discipline. You're familiar with some of that, are you?
Absolutely.
Can you speak to that?
Irving
Is
School
this
District-
part of a bigger pattern?
The Irving School District has a long history of unfair treatment of black and Hispanic children and non-Islamic children. There's a long history that's documented. I saw the president of the Irving NAACP here, that has a long history of discrimination And you got to realize the Irving School District, like most of the school districts, yesterday they were segregated. The reason they are integrated today is because the Supreme Court made them integrate. They didn't wake up one morning and say, you know what, we've been being unfair. They were forced by litigation in order for us to reach and be able to go to the Irving School District. So there's a long, ugly history in the Irving Independent School District of unfair treatment. And you can look at, over the last 5 years, a child in Irving, say, found with a joint of marijuana. His punishment is based on the pigmentation of his color. There's a pattern of discrimination in the Irving Independent School District. Not because I'm saying so, because the pattern exists.
Was anything overtly said by the principal or Irving police or any other official involved in your arrest?
Overly said.
Yes, there.
Yeah, that suggested, did they mention a racist comment or any comment about your religion?
Well, they made some.
Put the,
Put that on your shirt there. You've had those on a couple of times.
They made some indirect comments.
Like what?
Like, that's who I thought it was. One of the officers, he was busy working, and then he saw...
The school resource officer, whom Ahmed had not had any interaction with even previously, when he walked into the room, said, that's who I thought it was.
Had you had some run-ins with that officer before?
No.
Ahmed, in the meantime, you're going back. What are you going to do in the meantime as this lawsuit plays out?
When I go back?
No, what are you going to be doing over the next few months? Are you going back to Qatar, you said?
Well, school's starting next month, so next month I have school. But until then, I'm not sure. I don't have a schedule.
But you're going back there for school, and you'll be back there and finish your high school years there, or have you thought it all through?
Well, for right now, I'm trying to finish my high school years over there, but I'm not sure what God has in store for me.
And Susan, what's next in terms of the lawsuit's been filed? So what, any kind of timeline do you expect, or kind of what we can expect in the next few months?
Well, I'm hoping that their lawyer will accept service so that we can sort of expedite things. And if that happens, then they'll be filing an answer within the next month or so. I expect them to be filing an early motion to dismiss, because that's just what they always do in these kinds of cases. And then once we get past that hurdle, we can start getting a lot of the information that has been withheld so far. Because you know the school district sued the Attorney General to keep a lot of the information private so that they did not have to disclose it. That lawsuit's ongoing. And so there's a lot of information that we've never even been able to obtain because they've withheld it on that basis. But once we get into this lawsuit, we'll be getting all of that.
Every time the Irving School District is asked about this, they say, oh, there's more things we could say if you would just give us a release.
And you know what? We did. We gave the Washington Post a complete release signed by Mohamed to get all of Ahmed's information under the federal act that governs that, and would be happy to do that with anyone else. If Irving wants to release that information, we encourage it.
And what happened with that release that was provided then?
We just gave it recently, so I don't think they've responded to it yet.
I'd like them to.
Okay.
Same here.
That is the first time to receive a release handed to me by my attorney. They have never handed to me, and I have never received it. So always.
Irving's never asked anybody
They've
for a
asked for
release.
it.
So what they would do is say, well, we haven't been able to get a release, but they never even asked for one. So I said, fine, here's a release. Now give us the information. And so we'll see how they respond to that.
But they always are saying that there's something more we could say. Is there anything more that they
What?
saying that's something negative about him in the background? It seems like you put forth most of his history with the Irving Independent School District in this document here.
That was our plan. That was our intent, was to put everything in the pleading so that it would all be out there. If there's more information that they have, I hope they share it with me, and we'll include that as well.
Ahmed, what do you hope to study in college, and what do you aspire to do?
I hope to study physics and electrical engineering.
Where are you staying at while you're here?
Well, I wouldn't answer.
Yeah.
We're not
yeah,
answering that.
that's
Sorry.
probably not a good, yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
it tragic that the United States of America, he has to live in hiding?
Reverend, he's the
Really,
officer here. I'll have you write his name. I'll have him write his name. Reverend officer.
So is that it, I guess? All right.
You're going, just to clarify, you're
Okay.
going, when you leave to walk along the streets here, you're completely covered?
Well, I have a hoodie on with glasses and a hat.
Celebrity look.
Okay. So is,
One thing I would like to point out to any children or adults watching this is that if you did nothing wrong, you have the right to remain silent. They might not tell it to you, but just know that.
And I want to say, without you, without the media, and the picture was taken and run out, Ahmed will never be seen today. So there is a lot of things is hidden, unseen. I hope the camera go to it and find it out.
No, sorry, I didn't hear it.